Okay guys, so we're here today in my Volvo XC40 and it's about to leave me. So I've only got it for another day or two and then I'm swapping it out for an Audi A3 saloon just for I don't know how long, until I leave my current employer really. So this is the 2-litre diesel, it's the D3 automatic gearbox and it's the Inscription spec level. So it's quite a high spec level, so we've got stuff like leather seats, nice big central display, nice display here instead of like old-fashioned dials. It's like the virtual cockpit that you're used to in the Audis. And yeah, 2-litre diesel, delivers the power reasonably well. I put all the stats up on the screen rather than trying to read them out while I'm driving, but it delivers the power really well. It's not a fast car by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not lacking for power either. You know, you can easily get away fairly briskly at a roundabout if you need to, and all the rest of it. The gearbox is fantastic, it's super smooth. The only thing I don't like with it is this gear selector. It's just a weird thing. It'd be much better with an old-fashioned lever where it's, you know, up for park, reverse, neutral, drive. But with this, you have to tap it twice down for drive, twice up for reverse. And if you tap it like a third time down for drive, which sometimes you do because you don't feel like you've done it properly the first time or something, you end up in manual mode. You only usually realise that when you're suddenly revving like an absolute moron. That's something that's just over-engineered, that's in so many modern cars. We mustn't beat Volvo up for it, but so many of them now have got some weird kind of gear selector where the old lever thing just worked really well, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. MPG wise, I think the book on this, I'll put the figure on the screen, the correct figure, but I think the book on this is it's supposed to do something like 57 or something daft like that. In reality, you get about probably 42 to 44 on a motorway run. Around town you probably get late 30s, 36 to 38 I would guess, if you're not driving like an absolute hoon, which you're probably not going to in a Volvo XC40 in all fairness, are you? Interior wise, like, it's really well put together. Everything's really nice. The plastics here are not amazingly sort of sumptuous, but up here it's nice and robust. You've got a lot of piano black stuff here and here, which I don't like because, you know, it just scratches so easily, doesn't it, piano black plastic? And to me it never looks clean. It really shows up the dust and fingerprints and grease marks and all that sort of good stuff. So I would rather they went for something different, like just a metal finish or you know, something different. In the trim pieces here and on the dash over here, you've got this kind of wood grain, and I think it is actually proper wood, like a really thin veneer, and it's got a matte finish to it, and that's really nice and it feels really nice, and I think it looks brilliant. A lot better than some of that shiny walnut stuff that used to be around back in there. So would have been nice if they'd done something with that really. And the little gear knob, the little weird gear selector, people have often compared to maybe something you might see at an Ann Summers party. I wouldn't know about that kind of thing, but yeah, it's a bit of an odd thing. It feels quite nice. That's what they say, but yeah, honestly, just some kind of more standard, old school, traditional gear selector would have been so much better. I think visibility is good in this car, but it does have some massive pillars at the back, so if you're trying to look over like the diagonal, it's not amazing. And I would probably recommend you get a reversing camera on it, although I didn't. It's got parking sensors all round and like a visual display to go with that, but I didn't get the reversing camera. Despite this being quite a highly spec'd model, I still had to get a few options. From the top of my head, I've got Harman Kardon sound system, which I mean, the sound's absolutely fantastic in here, but I didn't feel like in reality it was a huge upgrade over what probably the standard sound would have been. However, it was 575 quid, and I know, you know, some of the big name hi-fi upgrades that are around on the market are like an additional 6 grand or something, aren't they? So I'm glad I've got it. It's a really good sound system. I can't compare it to the standard one because I just ordered it. I'm one of those, I always want the best possible sound in the car, so I'll order the best sound package. Servicing, I've had I think I've had 2 services on it now, and each time it's been about 275 quid, which it hasn't had like the big service yet. So I don't know what the cost is connected to the big service, but the minor ones seem to be about 275 quid. I have had 2 things go wrong on it since I've owned it. One is that I went out to the car one day and it just had no power. I literally couldn't even use the central lock-in. It was just dead. And the dealership decided it was some kind of glitch with possibly the ECU, and it turned the car back on or put it into like sleep mode or something, and it just drained the battery down. So they literally charged the battery and then just checked the rate at which the battery depleted with the car turned off, and it was pretty much nothing. They've reset the internal system, fully charged the battery, and it's been 100% fine ever since. I was sort of a bit trepidatious, to be fair, that the problem was going to be fixed, because when they can't really find a problem and they have a guess at something, and although it's like a really good educated guess, I don't know, I'd always like rather they said, oh yeah, this unit's failed and we've replaced it. But sure enough, you know, that was it. It was a really, really simple little problem, and a reset fixed it. Hello guys, just a quick reminder to give the video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks. And the other thing is, it's got an electric tailgate, and something happened with the catch, and basically it made a loud farting noise whenever you tried to open the boot. They just had to replace the catch. It was a warranty job, didn't cost me anything, and just had it done while it was in for a service. The boot was still opening and closing absolutely fine. It literally just went as you opened it. So I wanted to hide my embarrassment in the car park of the Greater Bournemouth area, just in case, you know, my fellow shoppers thought I was suffering with severe flatulence or something. And I just mentioned it when I was getting the service done, and they swapped it over, no problems there. So I've had it for 2 years. I haven't done massive mileage because of the pandemic. Normally at this time I probably would have expected it to have about 35,000-40,000 on it, my normal sort of business and private mileage. But yeah, it's only got 10.5. So in a lot of ways it's still a pretty new car, in all fairness. But I got used to it very quickly, having come to it from an Audi A4. I did feel like this felt a lot more sort of robust in some ways, but the Audi just felt like an old glove. Like, I really, really loved that car. And not that I don't love this car. I don't love this car, in fairness. I really like this car, and I think it's a fantastic car, but it just doesn't quite have that little connection with me, and I don't know why, really. The infotainment system, although perfect in a lot of ways, so for the audio stuff it's really good, it's really easy to navigate. The voice commands are quite good, so let's just say play John Mayer.
Searching music and radio. Select from list.
1. Okay, and it's that easy and that good. So the voice commands, I would say, are head and shoulders above where the Audi voice commands were, but then this is a newer car, in all fairness. But the sat-nav is definitely quite a big step down from the Audi. Whoa, Sunglow. Yeah, the sat-nav's a really big step down from the Audi. The Audi system was absolutely superb. The only thing it was maybe lacking, it had the little wheel to use, but I guess it would have benefited from touchscreen as well. But again, I don't just want touchscreen. I think it's good to have both, to have the wheel system and to also have a touchscreen. But yeah, the Audi system used Google Maps. and graphically it looked brilliant. It was very responsive, and it handled the sort of traffic redirections really well and kept you really well informed, where this one really doesn't look fantastic in my opinion, and it's just not quite as good to use in any respect as the Audi system. I know a lot of people prefer the BMW one over all of them. I personally don't. I think the Audi one's the best one I've used, and it's very, very similar system in Porsche and a lot of the other VW Audi group stuff. But I personally feel like the Audi sat-nav system's the best one I've used, and yeah, this felt like a real step down from that, and I mean a real step down. It didn't feel like this was slightly worse. Like graphically this is rubbish in comparison, and just the user interface and just the feeling of premium quality when you're using one system over the other, there is no comparison. Now I know in the new Polestar, the Polestar 2, which obviously is part of the Volvo family, they've gone for a full Android Auto system, and it looks very similar to this in a number of ways, but they've obviously decided that Google can do software better than Volvo can, which is not a massive surprise, and I'll be interested to see that, but I'm guessing that solves the problem, if it is a problem. So all in all, if it were my money and I were going to buy a kind of small, well, I would say now probably a medium size, well, small to medium size SUV, would I buy a Volvo XC40 with my own money if I was in the market for this kind of size vehicle? And if not, what else would I be thinking about? Well, I guess the one most people are thinking about is the Evoque, Range Rover Evoque. There's one in front of us now, and I'm really pooing myself now because I've got this brand new camera on the bonnet of my car on a suction cup mount that I've used once. Yeah, so would I buy the XC40 or would I be thinking about something else? So you're going to be thinking about maybe Audi Q3, maybe even Q5. You're going to be thinking about Range Rover Evoque, I guess, BMW X1. X3 is a bit of a bigger car, isn't it? Those kind of things, okay? And then aside from that, you're looking at more, I guess, less premium vehicles. Would I buy the XC40? Yes, definitely. I wouldn't hesitate to buy the XC40. It's really, really nicely put together. It's a very well built car. It feels massively robust. It's quite a stylish looking car, and not to say it's a better design, but it's probably a more interesting design than a lot of its rivals. And certainly if you put this up against something like, maybe looking at slightly cheaper cars like a Qashqai or something, I mean, it just, to me, there's no comparison. Absolutely no comparison. So yeah, do I like the look of it? Yes. Do I think it's well built? Yes. Is it nice to drive? Yes. Is it fairly economical? Yes. For me, like really, the only letdown on the whole package is that infotainment system. Again, it's only the sat-nav element that's really a letdown, and I've just tried to connect my phone with Apple CarPlay. All right, we've got it now. You only get part of the screen with it though, which is unfortunate. So it gives you kind of a half screen version. And Google Maps, for example, don't follow through to the map display that's on your instrument cluster there, which is again unfortunate. But it is what it is at the end of the day, folks. It is what it is. Would I recommend the XC40 to anyone? Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. And I'm really picky with stuff like infotainment systems and what have you, but the actual nuts and bolts of the car, it handles really, really well. It is a little bit boaty in corners, but it's a big car, very high driving position. So you're going to have to expect it to be a little bit boaty. It's not excessively so, it's just not a sporty ride. But why do you want this kind of car to have a sporty ride? You know, I think for me, it's the perfect mix of handling and comfort. And I think Volvo have got it absolutely spot on. It's got a good sized boot and it's fairly frugal on diesel. I mean, it's nothing special, but I've just looked, my average at the moment is 42.4 since my last fill up, and That's been a combination of short motorway runs and quite a lot of round town stuff. So 42.4 is not too shabby, is it? So am I sad to see this go? Yeah, I am actually. I am. I guess I haven't. Another reason I haven't developed perhaps the connection with this car that I did with some of my old ones is that I just haven't had the same sort of relationship with it without sounding too weird or too much like a hippie. You know, I've done 10,500 miles in it, where some of my other cars have gone back with 60, 70,000 miles on. And I've had, you know, countless 4 or 5 hour road trips in them, and, you know, days where I've left the house on Monday and got back on Thursday. You know, those long days on the road in a car, and you get to know everything about it. But yeah, I am really going to miss this car actually. I'm really looking forward to the Audi A3 Saloon though, and I'm going to do a review on that. I've heard tale that the build quality is not what it used to be. You know, I've got a real eye for that kind of thing, so I'll give you my absolute brutal honest opinion on that front. There you go guys, so it's the first car review I've done on this channel, hopefully not the last one. I guess that depends on your feedback and how many likes I get on the video and stuff like that. So please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is with that Readly trial. Literally sign up for Readly, try it out. If you don't like it, cancel it within the first 30 days. It won't cost you a penny. Just signing up for that trial supports the channel in by far the best way you possibly can. Also, don't forget to use my Amazon link, so anything you buy from Amazon, just click through my link, which is always in the video description. And yeah, check out my website, notguru.co.uk, and you can find all the ways you can support the channel, you can get in touch with me, and you can go and view all my videos from there. Thanks very much for watching guys. This is a brave new world for me, the world of car reviews. I've got new equipment to do this. I've got a GoPro Hero 9 that I've just bought, and I'm very much still getting used to that. I'm sure they will improve in future. As a first attempt, hopefully it's all right. But yeah, be kind. Thanks very much guys. See you next time.